This video is sponsored by Gamos Metal Cruise 2023.
Amassing the bodies and pits as they die, sentient and filthy they rot. Flammable and singing, discarded like waste. For the fire of the handgun, you played it all wrong. And soul and valor.
Welcome to Rauta's Underground Trio. This time once again we have three bands which are not exactly big but coming from the underground. All these bands are relatively new, hence being on this episode, and I'll go from worst to best according to my own opinion, of course. What makes it tricky to figure out which one is the worst, which one is the best, is that these are all different styles. Mind you, we'll start with a black metal release, then go to some haunting folk rock, and then we are going to finish with some hardcore punk. If that doesn't sound diverse, I don't know what will. So here we have first band from Australia, Artanor, with the debut album in Servitude of Darkness. This comes with a rather nice looking cover, and already I had a little bit of expectation for this one. Now, I can't say I was severely disappointed when going on with this one, but I must say this is a tad bit of a disappointing overall, because everything else here, except for the cover, is somewhat like it could be better. Now, this is a one-man project by an individual who has been working on the project for quite some time, and as such, what can I say is that the whole thing here is kind of a very promising, but at the same time letting me down, because thing here is, this is melodic black metal, with going kind of a bit of melancholic sides, a little bit on the atmospheric side, and all that stuff. And basically it's almost like, yes, this really could be it. This really could be something catchy, something, I don't know, going under your skin with the music. But overall this 45 minutes, a little bit less than that of an album, is more like having lengthy tracks which never lead to a kind of a climatic moments. It's almost like unable to write some killer riffs and melodies, where everything is just quite okay, but nothing beyond that. Now, if you think I'm a little bit harsh on this, consider this. This is exactly, in my opinion, whatever bands like Iron Maiden have been doing for like almost 3 decades. The thing here is, nothing wrong with the basic thing here so far, but if I'm really considering it to be something different or making big wow feelings, I would be lying. When it comes to production, this one is pretty basic. There is nothing fundamentally wrong, but then again, it's not exactly very powerful or anything like that. It's not like the guitars are, how to say, they're not sharp enough to cut your skin, but it doesn't really like annoy me at all. Same thing with vocals. They are kind of the basic raspy black metal vocals, which do their job just fine. But if I was to mention some of my favorite black metal albums or bands when it comes to vocals, this wouldn't be very high on the list. Just pure mediocrity in so many ways. And as such, I feel kind of disappointed. But like I said, if you're into melancholic and atmospheric black metal, you don't need the most aggressive, not the darkest, not the most melancholic or depressive black metal. You're pretty good to go with this one. I guess it's a decent starter for this rather new band, still being out for quite some time in terms of years, but nothing out of ordinary. So go with that as you please. The next one in line is the most beautiful packaging of this episode. This is The Radiant Light, which I thought first, because this is released by Van Records, I thought this was going to be some kind of a black metal release. How to Leave This World in Peace. What a soothing title. And so I was expecting some kind of, I don't know, maybe black metallic thing, maybe depressive side, maybe more of atmospheric side. Because everything here is like, okay, it's really black with those kind of interesting covers and all. And I was so wrong. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be wrong. I often say that I'd rather be wrong than unhappy, but this is folky metal. Not folky metal, folky rock, I guess. The band call it haunting folk from Brussels, Belgium. And indeed, this is that. When you're thinking of folk music, I guess I'm not the only one to say this kind of a neo-folk of things, in a way. Neo in the terms of not exactly old school, but still, I guess I'm not the only one who is thinking like, yeah, this is some kind of a man and an acoustic guitar kind of a thing. And pretty close actually, but this is done also with a lot of electric guitars. Maybe not so much distorted sound, but more, just kind of clean acoustic guitars. Then some humming vocals, which are very fitting for the mood here, which is kind of a dark. And that is, I think, the best thing of this. This is kind of a beautiful and soothing, but also dark in the sense of that. Very easy to listen to, but also very easy to fall into the background stuff, which is not necessarily a compliment, depending once again what you're doing. Because a lot of these songs are quite instrumental in nature. I mean, the vocals aren't exactly dominating the album here. This might go, more on the background when you're doing something and you just get to feel the mood. Now, especially when all the music is more about mood, feeling, atmosphere, and all that stuff. That's not necessarily kind of a disrespecting comment. Maybe this would also go as a soundtrack when you're reading something. I mean, if you're the kind of a reader in the first place who prefers music on the background. But this kind of also lacks catchiness. I don't know if that is even necessary when we're talking about folky stuff, but I mean, I really couldn't pick a single song which I would say, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that you need to hear. I mean, there are bands in neo-folk or folk music which are really like, hey, these are the tunes that everybody knows. Now this is more like figuring out how to really how to tap into the potential. And as such, this is a little bit more, just like I said, going on to the background, rather grasping you by the balls because of, wow, it's like that. So this is an interesting album for so many ways. I mean, the atmosphere is really, really good and all that stuff. But when it comes to individual songs or sing-along parts, if you're looking for those one in folk music, wouldn't be unheard of. This is not exactly that good, but definitely worth taking a look if you're not allergic to this kind of music to begin with. Then the last but not least goes to this German band Eyes of Tomorrow, Perfect Sky. Now I couldn't easily click and check out how many albums this band has. There was a little bit contradiction in terms of information, but it seems like this band is relatively new, something along like 2016 or so, and this is their latest album from year 2023. At least one album before this one, but this is my virgin trip with this band, so can't really compare to the previous ones. What matters is that this album runs for less than 30 minutes, so it's quite of a hasty one, and it's hardcore punk indeed. I mean, this is a very metallic take on the genre, which is not that uncommon, of course. And the music is, in general, is very, very punkish in the way that we don't give a damn, but more cursing. And also kind of a right to the point, like being strong and aggressive and all that stuff, but not necessarily overly violent and all that stuff. I mean, I get it, the kind of a good feeling about this album, because it's just, like, how to say, just nailing it. Okay, now I see I have a little bit of misunderstanding here. I was just thinking this is actually full album by the band, Eyes of Tomorrow. It's a split. Color me just mistaken here. But this is part of the whole deal. Sometimes you just go with the music and you don't even recognize you're listening to a split. I should feel awkward right now. A little bit feel, but it's fine. Maybe this actually underlines the very fact that these bands are not that different. Because, to be honest, I didn't notice a proper... difference when the album moves on to a different band. I don't know how much it tells about me as a listening dude or reviewer dude, or about these two bands being almost like two different entities from one and the same tree. I feel totally like baffled here, like, wow, two bands sounding like so much the same. I was like 100% sure this is just one band, and that's what I was thinking. This is the actual name, The Perfect Sky, but no fucking way. This is actually split with that, and the album name is actually Songs of Fate and Demolition, which is kind of Depeche Mode kind of thing. Now, mistakes are done and all that stuff. I don't want to even redo this video because more properly, better me being honest and being fooled by this release rather than just overdoing it and pretend that I was right in the beginning. No way, Jose. I listened to this a few times, and I can say it's a very, very nicely balanced one, and so far, in my opinion, the best of the pile. And it just baffles me how similar these bands are when you're just kind of listening to it while working and stuff like that. And yeah, these are indeed metallic hardcore punk all the way. But yeah, it feels strange now to think that I should have heard the difference. How come I didn't? I don't know. There's no excuse for that. Anyway, if you're into hardcore punk, no other reason but to check out this one, because I mean, this is indeed very well balanced stuff. If only this had even more Kirill songs than a couple of individual ones, which one at least brought a smile to my face, which was about the verse going like eat, sleep, lift, repeat. Now usually of course it goes like eat, lift, sleep, repeat, but don't get stuck into details. It's just funny because sometimes the powerlifting regime is exactly like that. Now, mistakes or not, who cares? Check out these bands if you want to. There are links provided in the description box. So there is that. And now you know, sometimes we make harsh mistakes. Sometimes it doesn't even matter. 2 of those happened on this episode. Now off you go. Links provided in the description box. Ask if you need me something to know about the details, what I didn't mention here, or if there's something else I can help you with. And other than that, go check out the music and all that stuff. All right, see you with the next episode of Underground Trio and all that stuff. Bye-bye.